Alright guys, so say 2 years ago, if somebody told me that they were going to cast the guy who played Jack Sparrow in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies as a notorious gangster, if somebody told me that, I probably would have laughed in their face. I'm serious. Anyway, hey there guys, what's up? It's Autobot Mike 18 here, back with another one of my movie reviews. Guys, as I said in my last vlog, I'm sorry for the lack of videos, but I'm still going to be bringing you guys movie reviews. This is what I do normally. This is what I like. These are the types of videos I personally like doing the most. I love talking about new movies when they get released. And guys, I got to see a new release this weekend. There were like 3 different movies I wanted to see this weekend, and I honestly had to pick between them. And of course, guys, the movie I decided to see this weekend is Black Mass. Now, Black Mass came out this weekend along with Everest, I believe the Maze Runner, The Scorched Trials, as well as Sicario. And Sicario and Everest got smaller releases, so it was really down to Black Mass and the Maze Runner 2 for me, so I was like, Black Mass, hands down. But I'll be seeing those other 3 movies hopefully soon. But guys, Black Mass is directed by Scott Cooper, who most recently did Out of the Furnace, which very small movie. Not a lot of people saw that, actually. I haven't seen it. This is the first Scott Cooper movie I've actually seen, as well as Crazy Heart, which I believe got Jeff Bridges Oscar recognition. I don't think he won for that movie, though. I don't remember. But Black Mass is Scott Cooper's newest film. It's a gangster film, and it stars Johnny Depp in the lead role of James Whitey Bulger. And the film is actually based on true events. The movie, you know, like the events in this movie actually did happen in the mid-1970s to the late 1980s. Also, guys, by the way, real quick, I almost forgot. Like, it's sitting right here, but I just forgot about it. Got this last week. When I went to go see The Visit, I even showed this in my Visit review. New poster possibly going to go up on the wall. Bye-bye, Sandra Bullock, Gravity. It's been up there for 2-3 years. It's time to move on. But anyway, going back to Black Mass. I printed this out earlier, though. I'm just going to hold this one up because it's smaller. Anyway, so Black Mass, let's get into the premise, guys, before I get into my thoughts on the movie, before I reveal whether or not I was even looking forward to this movie. Black Mass is set somewhere in the mid-1970s throughout the 1980s, and it's also set in the present day throughout a series of interviews or a series of investigations to former members of this gang known as the White Hill Gang. And their leader back in the mid-1970s was James Whitey Bulger, and this all took place somewhere in South Boston. And of course, playing James Whitey Bulger in this movie is Johnny Depp. Now, the movie portrays an alliance that was made between him and the FBI, or specifically between him and an FBI agent who goes by the name of John Connolly, who in this movie is played by Joel Edgerton. Now, they make this alliance so the FBI can go after a more pressing matter, a Italian mob, which is slowly coming to rise in South Boston. And they form this alliance with Johnny Depp's character, James Whitey Bulger, so they can gain access to this mob, and Johnny Depp will therefore gain protection. And at the same time, this deal that they've made is only going to backfire in the FBI's face, because Johnny Depp is going about doing his notorious ruthless deeds. He is just an absolute sadistic, very creepy guy who just gives off this incredible demeanor, and he has this just deep, raspy voice. And he's just not some sort of guy you'd want to be married to. Dakota Johnson, I don't know what she saw in the guy, but... or some guy you'd like to come in contact with. Because once you do come in contact with this man, things aren't looking good. And it's basically a portrayal of this alliance that was made between Bulger and the FBI. And that's all I'm going to say with Black Mass. I don't want to give away anything. And as most gangster films do, at the end of the film, they have like text that pops up on the screen that says, oh, this character is doing this thing happened to this character, blah, blah, blah. So this film is based on true events, and I believe they actually wrote a book on this whole series of events. I don't know who specifically wrote the book, but I do know that's what the screenplay is based off of. So it is an adapted screenplay. And this did really happen in South Boston. There really was a man known as James Whitey Bulger, and he really did commit these heinous acts. He really did murder people. He really was a ruthless son of a bitch, essentially, because that is what this man is. That is what Johnny Depp's character is in this movie. Now, real quick, before I go any further, I'm going to say this much about Black Mass and Johnny Depp. I remember when I first saw the trailer for this movie, I knew nothing, not a thing about this movie. I didn't even know it existed until about a month ago. I was in the theater, I don't remember what movie I was watching, but I saw a trailer for Black Mass, and I saw that it was a gangster movie. And as soon as, I don't think Johnny Depp came into the trailer right away, but as soon as I saw that it was a gangster film, and I believe like it had that sort of like Departed vibe going with it, when I watched the trailer, I was like, holy crap, this looks pretty awesome. Then Johnny Depp comes into the movie, and he didn't even look like Johnny Depp, number one. Number two, I let out a ginormous groan. I don't even think that's a word. A gigantic groan that Johnny Depp was cast as the lead in this film. Because, guys, I'm going to be blunt with you here. I am not a fan of Johnny Depp, okay? I do not like the man. He is one of my least favorite actors, to be honest. Now, I haven't seen a lot of his good movies, like Edward Scissorhands or Sweeney Todd. I've only seen the first Pirates movie. You know, I think one of his better performances is Secret Window, in all honesty, which is a very overlooked movie. And other than that, especially the last few years, like I haven't seen more of his recent films like The Lone Ranger or Mordecai or Transcendence, which all just look terrible after terrible after terrible choices for him. And I just really felt that the guy had nothing left. And I was just like, I don't care what he's going to star in next. I'm not following this actor. I don't want anything to do with him. He just can't pick a good movie. He's just playing the same characters. He's just putting white face paint on himself over and over again for all these roles. Into the Woods. I mean, he's a fine actor, but it felt like he was just making the utmost terrible decisions. And when I saw him in this trailer for this movie, I got an inkling of hope that Johnny Depp was finally going to do something different. That he was finally going to change things up just a hair. And not be the same Johnny Depp we've seen in the last few movies, okay? And guys, I have to say this much. Johnny Depp absolutely freaking nailed it in this movie. He killed it, guys. Johnny Depp, man. Wow. This came out of left field. I did honestly not think that this man still had this much in him, and he absolutely does. I could make a whole video going into a list of reasons why his character worked so well, why he was so good in this movie. I'm going to breeze through it right now. This is an utmost physical and mental transformation that is completely unrecognizable. Everybody was raving last year about Jake Gyllenhaal's performance in Nightcrawler and how completely unrecognizable he was in that movie, and I absolutely agree with that. This is the Jake Gyllenhaal performance of 2015 so far. Johnny Depp is utterly unrecognizable in this movie, not just appearance-wise, because if you've never seen a Johnny Depp film before and you go into this movie, you'll have no idea who this man is. Even if you've seen a picture of him online and how he actually looks with black hair and like the goatee or whatever, with glasses on, and you see this character in this movie, you would never know it was the same person. I kid you not, that's how unrecognizable he is in terms of appearance. But that's not what sells the movie. Yeah, you can throw some makeup on an actor and make him look different, and then people will rave about, oh, this actor did a transformation. The guy actually physically transformed and isn't doing, you know, a dumb movie where he's running around like an Indian with black face paint on his face playing Tonto or whatever the hell the Lone Ranger was. No, he is a legitimately creepy guy in this movie. He just sits there and he has this utmost intimidating presence about himself. He makes others feel nervous. They get nervous around him. He just has this dark, gaunt stare in his eyes. His voice, he nailed a perfect Boston accent. That is something I always look for in Boston mob movies set in Boston. The Town did it perfectly. The Departed did it perfectly. Black Mass absolutely did it. He nailed that Boston accent perfectly. But his voice is so deep and raspy, and the way he talks is just so dark, and it just adds to that menacing side of his character. He is so utterly ruthless in this movie and how he handles certain matters, how he gets angry at certain people. There's moments where the character just flips out and just murders people. And yeah, there's moments where you're like, all right, he's going to murder this person. They're dead. Like, that's it. This person's going to get whacked. There's other moments where, you know, there's like a legitimate surprise. I didn't think he was actually going to do that. Johnny Depp, overall, he killed it. This is quite possibly the best performance I've ever seen him give. And again, this is coming from a guy who hasn't seen films like Edward Scissorhands or any of his other critically acclaimed films. Like, I've seen more of his bad movies than I've seen of his good movies, and that's why I haven't been a huge Johnny Depp fan. But I have to say, this man deserves Oscar recognition. There's one, I'll say this much, if he doesn't get a Best Actor nomination, I'll understand why, and I'll explain that in the end. But he killed it, okay? He's the best part of this movie, hands down, in a movie that actually worked very well with its screenplay, the direction, the editing was really good, in my opinion. A lot of people were complaining about a very slow pace. I didn't really feel that while I was watching the movie. Yeah, there's a slow pace throughout scenes, but it's elevated with this very taut feeling throughout scenes, and this very incredibly sinister tone that the movie sets. Very dark and murky feeling that you get as you're watching the movie, going from scene to scene. That's brought on by very good cinematography and lighting as well. And that's other praise I definitely have to add on to Black Mass's plate. But yeah, he's absolutely the best part of this movie. Hands down, one of the best performances I've seen all year. Quite possibly the best performance I've seen all year so far. And without a doubt, I would not be upset in the least if he got Oscar love. I wouldn't, because one, he not only deserves a nomination, not only because he was flawless in this movie, that's one, but two, because he finally broke out of his comfort zone. He finally stopped. He didn't do a movie where he just took the check just to make money and just pulled off a crappy performance and just put no energy into it. He brought his all into this movie. He came out, he broke out of his shell and showed me that he still has the talent and the chops to pull off a good performance. And I thank you and I praise you, Johnny Depp, for that. Supporting cast goes as follows, guys. I thought they were all incredible as well. Joel Edgerton, who's had an incredible year with The Gift, does amazing work as the FBI agent in this movie. He is also, his character goes through a very interesting transformation throughout the film. Johnny Depp's character is more so or less just this ruthless, just prick throughout the entire movie. But Joel Edgerton's character just got more and more dirty and got more and more, his hands dirtier and dirtier as the film progressed. And he takes it out on characters around him, and it really, really pays off incredibly well. He has some great moments in the film. Who else? Kevin Bacon is really good in the movie. Corey Stoll. Dakota Johnson finally can say, yes, I did do 50 Shades of Grey this year. Let's not talk about that movie. But I did Black Mass, so I had that to fall back on. All these actors I just mentioned all pulled off incredible Boston accents, by the way. Dakota Johnson especially. I thought she was going to suck in this movie because of what I saw in 50 Shades of Grey. She was okay in that movie, nothing great, but she was actually very surprising. Being honest. Peter Sarsgaard is also good. Like, a lot of these, like Dakota Johnson and Peter Sarsgaard are in the movie for like 10 minutes. Alright, 10 to 15 minutes. But they're great in their scenes. They steal the scenes that they are in, and I'm giving them praise for that. Jesse Plemons from Breaking Bad. Meth Damon, as everybody likes to call him. You know, that creepy guy Todd from Breaking Bad. He's great. He's a great actor who definitely needs to be used more. There is the opening scene in this movie where he's being interrogated. He just has this utmost disgraced look on his face. He looks so bleak and angry. He looks like some rapist or some murderer that you'd see on like a 2020 show or like a 48 Hours mystery show where he's being interrogated and grilled by the police. He just looks so maniacal in his scenes, and he gained a lot of weight for the role as well. Good job, Jesse Plemons, man. That is a good actor. And then two other performances I didn't mention yet because they were good but not great. They're Boston accents, and I always pay attention to this when I see a movie set in Boston, a gangster film especially. Benedict Cumberbatch and Adam Scott. Both great actors. I love Benedict Cumberbatch in The Imitation Game, alright? And Adam Scott is great in nearly every comedy he's in. They're good. Their Boston accents. Yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch just sounded like he was talking like Benedict Cumberbatch would. So that was one little minor nitpick. I think Scott Cooper did a fantastic job directing this movie. He really utilized the camera very well in some moments. There are some slow push-ins in some moments. There are some slow push-outs in some moments that really emphasize the tension in a few scenes, or emphasize the dark nature of some scenes, and I thought that really well. I liked his choices overall as a director. His framing, the cinematography definitely gives you that sort of film noir lighting feel, and I really love that in movies. There are some great scenes between Joel Edgerton and Johnny Depp in like they're seeing each other. They're like seeing the river somewhere in South Boston. And it's like late at night, you got that like yellow lighting going across like their chins, and I just really like lighting choices that were made in this film overall. And the screenplay, yes, I know a lot of people have been comparing this movie to saying it's got a very Scorsese vibe going on, something like Goodfellas or The Departed. I would say it's essentially The Departed meets Goodfellas meets The Town, not as violent as The Town, but you get my drift, okay? Meets The Godfather in terms of its overall messages and overall themes that we come to see in gangster films, okay? I'm not saying this film is like The Godfather. I'm saying the choices in the screenplay themselves really play out and make you realize, oh yeah, like betrayal, okay? You're going to see that in a gangster movie, okay? You're going to see people lying to each other. You're going to see murder. You're going to see deceit. You're going to see all of that in a gangster film, and The Godfather is ultimately the film that started all of this and is still the best of all of them. But Black Mass, in my opinion, it never felt like it was biting off of those movies. It felt like it's its own movie. Here's the thing. Goodfellas, The Departed, The Town, The Godfather, gangster movies like that, all up here. Black Mass, like right below them, okay? It's that entertaining. It's that energetic. You know, it does have a slow pace, but at no point in the first two acts of the movie did I feel bored or feel like the movie was dragging. I was engaged. I was engaged into the characters. The dialogue is taut in some moments. There's a fascinating dinner table conversation that Johnny Depp just nailed. But the dialogue was also very strong in that moment as well, which made it really work for me. All of that works incredibly well, and that makes this a very engaging, very entertaining gangster film to watch. It's not one of the best of its kind, but it sure as hell is a great, just dark story that was based on true events. And there are moments of it that just make you question just humanity in general, I guess, and the choices that bad people make, in a sense. And it really is an interesting relationship between a bad person and an FBI agent, and how, you know, they sort of become one in some instances. And I just loved seeing that portrayed on screen. In terms of flaws, I would say that Black Mass honestly had a few too many supporting character stories throughout the movie. Because of that, I felt that honestly detracted from Johnny Depp. Like, throughout, like, I wanted Johnny Depp in every scene. That's how good he was. But there are some scenes where there's just characters talking, you know, amongst themselves, and Johnny Depp's not even there. And I feel as a lead actor, he should have definitely been more present in the movie, ultimately. And then ultimately, the third act for me fell apart a bit. I felt it wasn't as exciting as the first two acts. I love how everything wrapped up. I loved the revelation of what happened to all these characters in the end of the movie. I thought that was great. But the third act in general just did not reach the level of intensity that I felt from the first two acts of the movie. That being said, and the fact that the supporting characters in some moments, you know, overshadowed Johnny Depp. Like, they were in the movie more, when I was like, bring Johnny Depp back on screen, okay? He's so good in this movie. Put him back on screen. Other than that, I really thoroughly enjoyed Black Mass, and I say it's worth the price of admission just for Johnny Depp's performance alone. Guys, Black Mass, I'm going to give it a solid grade of a 9.25 out of 10, or an A-. It's for sure one of the better movies I've seen this year, and it has one of the best male performances you're going to see in a movie all year long. That is a fact, Johnny Depp. Thank you for finally mixing it up. So guys, that is all I have to say about Black Mass. What did you guys think of the movie? Let me know down below in the comments below. And you will see this Black Mass poster hanging up behind me. Guys, stay tuned for other movie reviews. Yes, I'll review Everest and Sicario when those movies come to my theater. Stay tuned for those reviews. And stay tuned for a few other vlogs I'll be uploading on my channel this week. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.